crazy out here, y'all. Stay focused. Let's go, KD. Take a look around you, look and find your way, babe. Yeah, take a look around you, look and find your way, babe. Yeah, I ain't talk is talk, and move is move. When I come in, bitch, I change your way. Got things to do, I done pay my dues. But where was you? Nigga, where was you? I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Hey, you the one that say that. You and me go way back. When this whole thing over, I'ma send my invoice payday. You don't wanna say that. You don't want this payback. I keep my composure, this my kingdom, nigga, stay back. We had a couple of moments. You had a choice, nigga, own it. Your real colors, they showing. I'm real, nigga, I'm focused. When I come around, I'm fly with it. Stay moving, do buy with it. Do sound, just vibe with it. Same truth and we die with it. I see it like it's an obstacle. I never sit on the fence. Nothing to me is impossible. Music of means to the end. Most of the shit is illogical. All of y'all niggas depend on what they pretend. Just think with your head, stop looking at trends. You wearing your eyes like it's topical. Now the pain is gone, the fame is on, and they play my songs. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, I ain't talk is talk, and move is move. When I come in, bitch, I change your way. Got things to do, I done pay my dues. But where was you? Nigga, where was you? I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. New era, I got y'all. Real game, we pop off, no knockoffs. Open eyes, we watch out. Mobilize, won't cop out. COVID-19 cops out, don't flop now. Open skies, we fly now. New agenda, they try now. Most y'all getting real scared of the headlines we find out. End game getting real near. If you don't know, you behind now. Behind the times, government hide behind the lines. Most brands trying to monetize. All of us have to stay inside, don't socialize. Talk is talk, and move is move. When I come in, bitch, I change your way. Got things to do, I done pay my dues. But where was you? Nigga, where was you? I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe.
The following program is rated TV MANOC. It contains a big pair of nuts directly on your chin. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
So you all wanted a new TikTok about how I use my new pronouns, which are B. So here we go.
That's legitimate insanity.
Instead of saying that's their coat, you would say that is B's coat.
This is just nonsensical shit.
They love themselves. You would say B loves B self. I really hope this helps.
You're retarded.
Obesity is epidemic in the United States and a major cause of death.
What is fat activism?
I, a fat person, am sharing my own lived experience.
Pizza is a vegetable.
Your fat phobia is your problem.
It is not my place as a smaller-bodied white man to comment on it.
Radical body positivity.
What can men do against such reckless hate?
There's only one man who can help me.
This is for you new people. I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits.
This day we fight!
Is my name Warmouth?
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Testing, testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 25 Hundo and 77 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast Pimpcast, Sleevescast, and Slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What's going on, beaches, booshes, busters, hustlers, and your hoes? It's your boy Papa Swolio back with another episode. Today's episode, the Beastcast, is brought to you, is powered, is sponsored by Everest and K2, flexing on all you beashes.
Fucking Catalina wine mixer.
It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
What's going on, fam-wise? Welcome to the show 2577. It's Saturday, May the 27th. Welcome, come one, come all. Everyone hit the thumbs up button if you're watching on Rumble and YouTube, and make sure you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We have a lot to get into today, so we are going to jump right in to that tip. We got to get the nut busted open. So first, welcome to the live stream. All the links for everything that we talk about in the show, to join the Swole fam, download the 7 pillars, watch the show, listen to the show, check out all the good stuff. Check the description down below, especially if you're brand new, so you can check out the discounts, the offers, the memberships, and all that good stuff. So thank you for being here, and we are going to jump right in today. What are you smashing today? Drop it in the comments down below. A couple announcements before we bust the nut open. We had an amazing overtime segment yesterday with the brand new Drive Mo Gaining. People are shitting their brains out from Ozempic. That's right. They are shitting their brains out. That's right. But it's safe. It's safe and effective. We know that term, safe and effective. We know how accurate that is. Good stuff. So now when you take this, at least you'll be losing some body fat, but not only that, you'll potentially shit the bed. That's a side effect people are reporting. They are shitting the bed. I don't think that's a good trade-off. Maybe just change your habits, eat healthier, exercise. You don't have to worry about shitting yourself at night. That's probably the worst thing that could possibly happen, is to wake up covered in your own feces. But hey, that's just me. Some people like to live on the edge. Also, papaswolio.com. It is Memorial Day weekend, so flex and strut your stars and stripes. It is Summer Swole. Make sure you're getting this amazing merch, flags, tanks, tees in before the 4th of July, of course. Make America Swole. It is Summer Swole season. It is the season of making sick fucking gains. So make sure you bust out that Swole privilege, the Swole acceptance. Make sure you bust out all that apparel. And if you haven't picked up any, this is a great shirt to send to your friends, family, the person that loves freedom in your life. Make America Swole. And last but not least, 2 days away, Monday, 12 noon Eastern time, Balls Deep for Summer Release Party. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you there live for members inside the Telegram chat and such. We're going to stream it just like this. Monday, 12 noon Eastern time. We got some awesome new announcements for upcoming releases. It's going to be fire, so join us. Great way to get accountable on a Monday. Join the Swole fam, Monday, 12 noon Eastern time. Only swolenormousx.com. That being said, let's bust the nut open. We have a great Swole card today. If you know the hashtag, if you're already a member, if you already are a member, make sure you start dropping that hashtag down below. Yes, sir. All right, fam, make America Swole. You know that's what you should be doing, no matter what you're doing today. If you're getting swole today, then guess what? By default, you're making America Swole. Hashtag make America Swole for a chance to win today's Swole card on this Your Swole Slut Saturday. Indeed, let's make America Swole. It just felt like making America Swole. We just felt like making America Swole. And that's absolutely right. The acronym is the Spanish word for more, más. Más. Mas Swole. Let's get bigger. Everyone make some sick fucking gains today.
Yow.
All right, let's get into the tip, fam. We have awesome Swole fam posts, so let's jump into it. Pooah. Babe, just an inch. It's cold outside. All right, we got a Swole fam post today from Carson, and Carson says, been stuck on a weight on chest press for about 3 weeks, struggling to get 8 for every set. Sometimes I squeeze it out, and sometimes I'm 1 or 2 short. Did I just hit a limit since I'm in a deficit? Should I lower the weight and increase the reps? And my answer is no. Chances are you're probably not recovering sufficiently for your workout, and you need to push harder. So I would say challenge yourself. I would say if you're struggling to get 8, maybe you go up a little bit in weight. Maybe you try to get that extra rep. Maybe you get a spotter. You do some negatives, some force reps, and you might need some more recovery in order to increase your strength. You're probably not recovering enough. I don't know what your schedule is, so you can follow up if you're watching live, but this is from the Telegram chat. So don't know, but a lot of times people aren't recovering enough. So you'll sometimes hit the weight, you'll fatigue, and sometimes you won't. And a lot of times that's just because your body is not repairing sufficiently from workout to workout. Otherwise you would be increasing in reps or weight. So there's that. All right, but that's a good rep range. 6 to 8 is a good rep range in general, especially for a chest press. You just might not be training intensely enough. You might not be going through to actual failure. So if you're using a chest press machine, try to get some force reps, some pulse reps, some partial reps, some negatives, some isometrics. If you have someone that can help pull the arms forward, for example, if it's a seated chest press, just for example, and then you could do some negatives and really fatigue the muscles for that set. You might be doing too much volume, perhaps. So a little more detail with your programming would be helpful for that. But if you're not getting enough nutrition, again, if you're not getting enough nutrition, it depends on what kind of deficit you're in, that's also going to mean recovery. So you're not going to be recovering enough sufficiently for a deficit. And also if you're in a deficit, that's not an ideal situation for your body to put on strength. So keep that in mind too. So it very well could be if you're in a deficit, and depending on what your protein consumption and what kind of deficit you're in. If it's only a couple hundred calories, you might, you might be able to maintain some strength gains for a little bit, but a deficit is not ideal for improving strength. Lindsay says, good morning, fam. Starting week 3 of the 90-day dash tomorrow. Did a 3.5 mile walk with 200 pounds of stroller. This outdoors thing is pretty cool. Really, though, I'm loving the active recovery days. Let's get it, fam. 200 pounds of stroller. Do you mean children, or do you mean, or is that a term that you use for pushing weights? Sounds like it's probably a child. That's a couple children. That's a lot of human. So maybe if you're watching live, give us a little more insight on that. Okay, let's get into some email responses. We got a couple. Remember, if you want to go on the email list, go to makeemailswoleagain.com. Today we're making America Swole, but also makeemailswoleagain.com. Link in the description to sign up for the email list if you're not yet on it. Lindsay says 4 kids in a stroller. That makes sense. Now it makes sense. 4 kids, that makes sense. That makes sense. Has to be multiple children. Because if you have 1 kid, you're like what, a 15-year-old? That'd be a fat 15-year-old, or really tall. That'd be a huge 15-year-old. Just pushing a massive human. What are the ages of your kids in the strollers? Well, good for you. Make it active, right? Make it active. All right, we got a focus email. We got a training hard email. So we got one from Rihanna, responds to the "Are you really training hard?" email. And Rihanna says, honestly, Papa, I may be half-assing some and no more. I'm going to start upping where I can with what I have and look into better equipment where I'm lacking to add to our arsenal and make some more sick fucking gains, Rihanna. So the email, "Are you really training hard?" was talking about pushing to failure. Are you actually assessing and paying attention to your training? Are you just making it through your workouts and completing a workout, or are you getting the most out of each one? And are you really pushing yourself for the work that you're doing? Sometimes you're distracted, sometimes you're not focusing enough, but if you are doing a workout, are you getting the most out of that workout? And a lot of times you have to have humility and be honest with yourself, because a lot of times you're really not training as hard as you think you are. We have one from the email, "Can't focus during your workout," from Steven. Steven says, this email and all your emails speak the truth. Got up this morning before work, went to the fucking gym, feeling great, and I don't have to worry about competing with annoying evening rush at the gym. Probably do a mobility session after work and crush a New York strip with butter and veggies. So happy I found the Swole fam. Steve, I believe we covered that one already, but hey, it's all good. So nice we read it twice. All right, let's get into some questions. Hashtag Ask Papa Swolio. Knowledge cock time. If you have a call and you want to call in, askpapaswolio.com to call into the show. All right, so live questions, you are welcome to drop them in the comments. We have one from Adra, A-R. Papa Swolio, does counting calories really help with weight loss? And the answer is yes and no. It depends. Like, do you have to count your calories to be in a deficit? You don't, but you might not be in a deficit if you're not counting them. So I don't really recommend people obsess over the number and counting calories. You could weigh your food and get an idea of what the values are, but it's much more important the quality of the food. I think the biggest issue with people with mental health, with getting results, with inflammation, doesn't really come from the calorie counting. It comes from what you're consuming. Because if you're still eating garbage foods, it's going to negatively affect your skin, negatively affect your sleep, negatively affect your joint health, negatively affect your mental health, and all those things. What's much more important is that you're eating quality foods. And when you start eliminating inflammatory foods, you're eating better quality foods, et cetera, then you can come back to how much you're eating. And plus, your body will actually get full. You'll have less of a likelihood of overeating when you're eating nutrient-dense food. It's much more challenging because you're getting dense nutrition. So it's much more important to focus on the food quality first, and then you can go to calorie counting and stuff like that if you want to, or if you need to. You might find that you don't need to. And I don't count my calories. I kind of know, hey, I want to kind of put on a little bit more size. I might just eat a little bit extra when I feel a little bit full. I kind of know when I feel a little bit full, I might just eat a little bit more. So if I'm maintaining eating what I normally eat, I'll just kind of stuff a little bit more, have a little bit more yogurt or have a little bit extra steak. And that's really what it is. If you want to gain size, it's really eating when you're already full. You're not hungry. Well, that's pretty much the point. But if you really want to get nitty gritty with it, that's totally fine. But again, not at the expense of quality. So if you're just counting and you're still eating McDonald's and Taco Bell and stuff, you're missing the point. Okay, let's see here. Hazardous Ducky. These screen names are so funny sometimes. Does laps in a pool, then climbing a few roots on a rock wall count as a good workout? I don't know, does it? It's physical activity. So it really depends on what your goals are. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, if you rock climb, that's terrible. That's a hobby. I guess it is exercise. It challenges you in certain ways. I understand it's fun, but it's not, it's not strenuous in the sense of strength training. It's very challenging. It's very difficult to do at a high level, like anything. Anything at a high level is difficult to do. Professional bodybuilding, high level rock climbing, any kind of sport, anything at a high level is by default at a high level. And you're competing against yourself or with the best of the best based on whatever attributes and skills and things like that. So that's physical activity. Laps in a pool. It just sounds like you're doing physical activity, like active recovery, doing things for fun, which is totally fine, but it's not training. That's exercise. That's physical activity. And there's nothing wrong with physical activity. We're doing things physically all the time. Even when we're sitting around, it's just minimally physically. So are you trying to build muscle? Are you trying to lose body fat and improve what are you trying to accomplish? Ask yourself that question and then ask, are your activities leading to what you want to accomplish? Brandon from the Telegram chat, Papa Swolio, do you have any recommendations for hip flexor strengthening exercises? Recently strained my hip flexor playing soccer and may end up doing PT, but definitely want to bulletproof to prevent future injuries. Yeah, check out the mobility masterclasses, the hip mobility masterclasses. If you did, you would already know that there are hip flexor strengthening exercises there. Check out the masterclass section. Bill, Papa Swolio, I'm going to the gym. Sorry to hear about your hip flexor, but yeah, strengthening that is very important. So single leg raise, knee to chest. You could do it in so many different ways, monkey foot or with a kettlebell or a dumbbell, but check it out. Check out the mobility masterclasses. Hip, knee, ankle. I would recommend getting a monkey foot. They're awesome. Bill, I'm going to the gym in the morning 4 days a week, waking up at 6, training till failure. On days I'm not, I wake up at 7 instead and do mobility at night. Is this bad for circadian rhythm? I mean, I would recommend trying to get up at the same time every day regardless. But I mean, 1 hour might not make all the difference. It's not as bad as like, hey, I usually wake up at 6 and then on days I'm not, I wake up at 10. That's going to be a little bit more damaging. So, an hour here and there, it's probably not that big of a deal. Mobility in the evening is not a big deal. I like to do mobility. I like to get my day started with moving and doing something, either lifting first or doing mobility first or both. So it's up to you. How do you feel? How do you feel? That's the question. How do you feel? Mindy Tippins, Papa Solia, how many days have you not gone to the fucking gym in the past 12 months? Well, it depends on what you mean. So again, going to the gym doesn't mean that you're lifting heavy. Going to the gym can be a yoga class. Going to the gym can be foam rolling or mobility. Going to the fucking gym could be sauna and cold plunge. It could be something that you're doing in order to active recovery. Like I said, foam rolling or stretching or some sort of myofascial release or swinging a little bit of a club, but you're not going super hard. So not every gym session or training session is a better term for it. They're synonymous. Gym training doesn't matter if you're going to a gym or you train at home or you're in garage or outside or an LA Fitness or 24-hour fitness or a crunch or whatever it is. Your training needs to be your physical investment. Active recovery or intense training, you shouldn't be sitting around your ass. So yeah, there's many days where I'm not lifting heavy. Many days. Many days where I don't lift heavy. More so now than before. I train really hard now, but I'm also giving some more days in between. I'm trying different protocols and making sure that I'm staying consistent. It's all about staying consistent. So if you have to back off, you want to keep your training intensely, but maybe more days of recovery in between. Because remember, it's not just your physical recovery, it's your psychological recovery in your central nervous system. Rihanna, Papa Swolio, during work, I have time in between what I'm doing, but the time varies. Is doing a swollen 7 but getting interrupted something you would suggest, or just wait till I can do the whole 7 together? Well, you don't know if you're going to be interrupted or not. So you might have a swollen 7 or you might have a swollen 5. Are you doing intense training or are you just doing a mobility? If it's mobility, then just do what you can. 3 or 4 minutes of mobility twice a day is better than 0. So if you do 5 minutes and you get interrupted twice, maybe when you go and continue it, you do the end of it and then you do it again. So maybe you have 5 minutes twice a day. So that's 10 minutes. That's better than being like, well, I might not be able to get it all done and doing 0, right? Doing 4 minutes twice a day is 8 minutes of mobility versus 7. So it depends on what you're doing. So if you don't know if you're going to get interrupted, then maybe don't. It depends. If you're just doing some mobility stuff, there's nothing. Swollen 7's designed for people that don't have a lot of time or just want to do a little bit of something or a warm up, right? You could use a Swollen 7 mobility as a warm up or a cool down. It doesn't have to be the workout, or you can do a Swollen 7 dumbbell. But I mean, are you going to make all the gains in the fucking world by doing 7 minutes? Of course not. But it's something that you can do to stay consistent. And if you use it in a certain way, it could be great as a warm up, a cool down, or an active recovery, or just a little something because your schedule got hectic and you're unable to put an hour into your training for whatever reason. All right. Interesting question here. Mateo Camarota, Papa Solio, what's the most important part of the leg to train? Yes. I mean, the leg, yes, all of it. The most important part, all of it. All of it. I mean, I guess if there's one body part, I guess the glutes should be strong, but I mean, everything. You want to train everything. You might have specific goals. You might have specific things that you like to do, but everyone should train like a bodybuilder. Yeah, you want to be functional. Yes, you could do athletic training and things like that, but everyone should train like a bodybuilder in the sense that you don't want to leave body parts completely untrained. You don't want to train the front of your shoulders and not train the back. You don't want to train your chest all the time and not train your back. You don't want to train your hip flexors or your glutes and never train your hip flexors, or your hamstrings all the time and never train your quads. Everyone's going to have different strengths and weaknesses and different applications, but you don't want to leave any body part completely neglected. So you might have certain ones you prioritize, but you shouldn't have any weak points. You want to have that not just for aesthetics, but it's also for joint balance and strength, right? You want to have balance around the joints. So all of it. Oops. All of it. Don't think about what's the most important muscle. Don't think like that. I would say the most important body parts that you should work on are your weaker points to bring them up. But again, it depends. Aesthetics aren't everything. It's not just how you look, but most people train to look better for themselves and for other people and to be more attractive and to feel more confident. It's good. When you look better, you feel better. It doesn't change the morality of who you are as an individual, but there's nothing wrong with training to look and feel good. You want to have strength. There's a lot of good aspects to aesthetics too, right? Aesthetics mean balance. You have that proportion, which means you have the muscles developed to fit the other muscles of the body. You want mobility, but you also want to be addressing all the muscles appropriately. You don't want to be neglecting certain areas because that could also lead to injury, not just superficial how it looks. So don't skip leg day, don't skip calves, don't skip forearms. You might not have the biggest of any of these muscles. Everyone's different genetically with how the muscles will respond, but you can still put the effort in to address them as best you can. Pre-workout, A. Sanchez 89, pre-workout, any recommendations? Coffee, black coffee, AKA the cafecito. Look at the tainty man. He's doing tainty yoga and church is sleeping. Black coffee, or put I got a little raw cream in here, but I wouldn't if I was drinking some coffee before a workout, I wouldn't have any cream. Yeah, I don't even want coffee anymore right now. Just having a last couple sip. Burned my tongue a little bit earlier. I can feel it. The coffee isn't tasting right. I roasted my tongue. Sipped it a little bit early. Let's see. Matahahahari. Matahahahari. All right. Matahari. Papa Swole, you ever have a, quote, slump day? And if so, how do you deal with it? Also, you bloody rule. Why, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Sounds from the UK. Also, you bloody rule. Why, thank you so much. Thank you.
The little rascal has spirit.
Yes, we've talked about that recently too. I do have slump days. I do have days where I feel blah. I have days where I feel flat. I have days, and this is not like a body dysmorphia thing, but I have days where I feel skinny. We all do. If you're building muscle, we have days where we feel weak, whether it's realistic, whether it's actually applicable, or it's in your head. Days you just feel like kind of flat. I have days when I do a certain training protocol and I'll look at my arms and I just kind of feel like I feel skinny. It's not, I look at them and in the mirror, it's like, oh, I'm not skinny, but sometimes it just feels like flat. You don't feel like the pump. You don't feel it. Sometimes you just feel that way, or you feel, I don't know, soggy. You feel like a soggy bowl of spaghetti. So I just stay consistent. I might shift what I'm working on that day, because it's very easy to kind of feel like you have a slump and then just eat shit, give up, do nothing. I'll do some mobility. Or if I feel sluggish, right? If it's not like how I feel in that sense, if it's just emotionally, oh, I'm dragging ass or whatever, I might just shift what I do. It might not be an intense workout. It might just be swinging a club. It might just be going on a walk with the dog. So lately, what I used to do is, I do it anyway. If today I'm training hard, I'm just going to train hard. I'm going to do the best that I can. If I feel really drained, there's probably a reason. I'm not recovered enough to train hard. Otherwise, I would feel like training hard. And I'm not saying feel like it in terms of motivation. I mean, in terms of physically, if I feel like, I'm just tight, or it's probably because whatever reason, your brain is also connected to your body. So I'm not saying if you don't feel like it, just skip. What I'm saying is if it's something physical where you address as I probably need some more recovery from whatever reason, maybe you didn't get good sleep or this, that, and the other, then work on active recovery and then crush it tomorrow. One more day is not going to make or break your gains. Sometimes you might be able to train with a pretty high intensity 2 days in a row, But you got to be careful because your brain, your central nervous system needs to recover too. It's the same body. Just because you train your legs yesterday doesn't mean you can crush your upper body today. You're still recovering physiologically from yesterday's workout if you trained hard enough. It's very overloading on the body. So it could just mean that you need more recovery. But then psychologically, it's, a lot of times people feel flat or they don't feel pumped because they're not currently sore. So if you're sore and you're inflamed, you can barely move your arms, yeah, you're going to feel more muscular, quote unquote. You're going to feel more full, but it could also just be inflammation and damage. It doesn't necessarily mean your body is going to respond with building more muscle. So you have to find that fine line, and different times of your life, you might change how you approach your training. But if you're not making good progress, you might not be recovering enough or training hard enough to create the stimulus in the gym. Remember, the gym is to create the stimulus. The recovery afterwards is when you're recompensating and then overcompensating with bigger muscles, more strength, et cetera, et cetera. So after you do a workout, your body is trying to get back to base level. And then after that, if it has the recovery necessary, if you create the proper stimulus in the gym, and if you're getting sufficient nutrition, then your body will actually build a little bit stronger and a little bit bigger, and you can see how it's a very fine line. You have to find that period. But you have to be very consistent, because if you're random with your training and your nutrition, you don't know what to change. You might have to change everything. But if you're very consistent, you can see, okay, what works? Let me change one variable and see if I notice improvements. It just takes time and patience and relentless consistency. The less consistent you are, the less accurate of a variable you can tweak and notice the outcome. So you have to be your own scientific experiment. Keep everything the same and then increase your calories. Are you gaining in strength? Are you doing, okay, so maybe I need an extra day of recovery between these workouts. So keep everything the same with your increasing calories, and then increase your workout recovery. Hey, are you gaining strength? You might notice over a course of weeks. It's not going to be tomorrow. So I've talked about it recently when I was doing, again, I got the VersaClimber in, and I started adding too much of that type of cardiovascular in the morning. It was from 0 to a lot of sled work and stuff every day, and I kind of got a little bit roasted. I got a little bit extra fatigued. It started getting really hot out in the summer. So I just kind of overdid a little bit, caught it just in time, pulled back, and then increased some rest periods, pulled back on that, changed my training up a little bit. And I was able to stay consistent. I was able to adjust and adapt on the fly because I saw the warning signs of it, pivoted, and now I'm like back. And sometimes I didn't want to take time off. I just wanted to adjust my training. So I gave myself more recovery, changed how I was doing with my split, etc., and started trying a different protocol. And now I'm back on the prowl. So really what it is when it comes to your life and how you handle your training and your nutrition is you get better at noticing the warning signs of either doing too much or too little. And you get better and better at how to tweak and adjust and what adjustment you probably need. So because I've been training for over 20 years, I know that those warning signs were, okay, I'm probably going too hard. Something needs to give, something that I added, and I think about it a little bit. And then I make a move, and then I move forward. So by removing those things, you're never going to do a bad thing by opting for more recovery. And I'm not saying don't train off, and I'm not saying don't train hard, quite the opposite. The harder you train, the more recovery you need. So by default, if you're training hard every day, you can't. You're going to burn out. You're going to break something. You can't train hard every day. And if you're training every day and you think you're training hard, it's not really to your max capacity. By default, you're not recovering enough, and you're not going to be getting the most out of what you're doing, especially with strength training and muscle building. Now, everyone's different. Everyone's work capacity can be built to a different level, but a lot of people are chronically under-recovered and chronically overtrained. Everyone's going to be like, well, what about David Goggins? Okay, you're talking about one person in 7 billion, and he's had so many fucking injuries and broken bones, and you listen to his stories and things, he's fucking permanently fucked up. So is that how you want to be? I'm not saying it's not inspiring or his story isn't amazing. What I'm saying is it's not like he hasn't paid the price. He's fucked up his kidneys. He's fucked up his knees are destroyed. Go and do what he does. Good luck with that. That's why when you have someone who has a name, you don't even have a name. You're just Goggins. You know who that is. Okay? That's why you know his name, because he's a fucking maniac. But do you really want that? And what are your goals? His goals are not to build a ton of muscle. I'm not saying your goal is to build a ton of muscle, but everyone's goal should be to build muscle and develop muscle. Not everyone wants to get as big as they possibly can. I don't understand those people. Come on, fam. It's time to make some fucking gains.
Emotional, damn
You
it!
get my point. It's hard enough to build muscle. A lot of people come into training. Well, I don't want to put on too much muscle. Don't worry, you fucking won't. Don't worry, you won't put on too much muscle, as if it's easy to put on muscle. I don't want to put on too much muscle. I want to lift weights, but I don't want to get too big. Don't worry, you won't. Don't worry, you won't get too big. Don't worry, you won't. Anyone who says that is not putting on muscle, probably at all. I'm going to lift hard, but I don't want to get too big. Yeah, you won't. If you want to put on even a little bit of muscle, you have to train like a fucking animal, consistently as fuck. And after the initial newbie gains, because of just stimulus period, when your body is reacting and you're just building muscle because your body has never lifted before, so it's responding for the first fucking time, essentially. After those newbie gains, like I say, you can pretty much do any kind of programming. Any kind of overload, push-ups, pull-ups, you'll build some muscle. Lifting weights, you'll build some muscle with pretty much any strength training program, because it's all overload, right? This is all about progressively overload. It's all about adding stress. It's all about increasing the stimulus. It's all about increasing the weight and, increasing the intensity and recovering appropriately. So as you get older and as you get more experienced, your body gets more and more used to work capacity, and more isn't better. We know that you can't do 60 sets. It's better than 50 or 30 sets. 30 sets is not necessarily better than 15 sets. Depends on your goals. But after you get enough stimulation in your muscles, it's harder to reach that stimulus threshold that's going to trigger your body to grow. So this is why, as I've gotten more and more experience, I've actually increased the intensity but decreased the volume, because if you go higher with intensity, you have to drop the volume. Otherwise, by default, it's not going to be intense enough. And if you increase the intensity, you need to decrease the volume. Otherwise, you're not going to repair enough between session to session. So it's just very important to understand that everyone's different, but also, you have to adapt, you have to apply, and you have to continuously learn and, like I said, be your own science experiment. A little bit of a rant here, but we'll bring it back. If anyone has any other follow-up questions, let's see. Nick, Papasolio, we'll take a couple more questions. What other barefoot shoes would you recommend? Been infusing? Infusing zero? But I seem to wear them out fast. You could, if you look for more, you could do Vibram, or you can do Vivo Barefoot. Vivo Barefoots are more expensive, but those are good too. I don't use them to work out, but I wear some. There's also Barefoot, as in like bear, B-E-A-R. It's the same guy that makes all this like kabuki stuff. But some of those are suede, so you want to be careful getting them wet. They're really good for indoor training. I don't know how resilient they are, but they have high tops, low tops. They have ones out of canvas, so you might find success with those depending on what you're doing with them. So you can check those out, but those are good too. Yeah, Chris Duffin. Okay, let's see here. Let's see, Adam, I love it when people say, quote, "I hope I don't get too big," as if spending one day at the gym turns you into Arnold Schwarzenegger. But yeah, I do understand. People look at bodybuilding and they think, "Oh, I don't want to get too big." But they don't understand what that actually means. So a lot of people in the gym were like, "I wish I can get too big." It's hard. It's very hard. And it's not just building the muscle, it's also maintaining it. You have to constantly subject your body to a stimulus in order to maintain muscle mass. You have to eat a certain way. If you don't use it, you lose it. Doesn't mean you won't keep some of the muscle, but your body will not maintain the strength, the neural connectivity. Your body will not keep all that stuff around just because. If you're constantly exposing your body to a stress, then it will maintain it. So that's why it's an adaptation. You consistently expose your body to a certain stimulus over and over again with the proper environment, right? With the proper recovery for your muscles physically, the proper nutritional recovery, the proper sleep. So if you're providing a stimulus and then actually giving your body enough recovery, then your body will develop these connective tissues and these soft tissues like muscle and tendons and ligaments over time. Over time. So when people ask me, hey, how do I get big like you? How long did it take for you to get that big? Well, I've been training for over 20 years. Did it take me over 20 years to get to, yes, to get to where I am right now, but I also haven't been trying to endlessly bulk and get as, I'm kind of close to my genetic potential. Could I get bigger if my absolute goal and everything I was eating and measuring was about just getting as big as possible? I think I could probably naturally put on maybe 10 pounds of muscle more. Maybe. I'm just throwing out a fucking number. But the amount of effort, the amount of stress, the amount of, I just don't want to overeat. I don't want to be heavier like that. I just don't want to be. I appreciate much more now being able to eat. And I don't like to use the word intuitively, but eat to my satisfaction, certain foods, train hard, feel good, recover enough, and not have to overanalyze. I write down my workouts. I get an idea of what weight I'm lifting. That way I can try to get another rep the next week or put on another 5 pounds or 2.5 pounds on like the bar or the whatever it is. But like whether or not I'm 206 or 207, it's just, I've been 225. I was much more body fat than muscle at the time, but it was too heavy for my joints. I just don't think it's good for me. I don't think it's physically good for me. I do want to build muscle, but it's also more like just developing muscle, maybe leaning out a little bit. I just don't really care. Like I can maintain this relative leanness. I'm not shredded to the bone in my midsection. I have abs. I just don't care enough to I don't know. I'm not doing underwear modeling. I tend to lean out a little bit in the summer because I'm really hot, sweating a lot, so less subcutaneous water. I'm eating a lot more fruit, maybe eating less fat. So maybe I'm leaning out more just because I'm utilizing more calories. I'm sweating a lot. I'm a lot more energy expended training outside in the sun. So I think there's also that too, which makes more sense. You lean out a little bit in the summer, you pack on, maybe you hold a little bit of a higher body fat percentage in the winter based on macros or whatever it is. But like I said, I also don't micromanage my consumption. I'm not sitting there eating like, oh, I'm eating 1950 or 2120. Let me cut this back. I'm not measuring my food. I'm just eating until I'm full and I eat whatever I want of certain foods. I try to make sure I get enough protein and fat, and I do a lot of raw dairy and steak and all these things. So it's important. And the thing is, when you start posting videos online, you're posting videos of your physique and this, that, and the other, you have a lot of people that will come up and they try to get in your head and they try to criticize certain body parts or this, that, and the other. But unless you're a competitive bodybuilder, who cares about, you're not stepping on stage. So I'm not stepping on stage worrying about my striations and my external obliques. I'm not competing. I'm not competing with anyone but myself and being disciplined. So you have to know what you're trying to accomplish. And the problem with social media and TikTok and Instagram is that you're posting online. A lot of people that are posting are taking anabolics and they are doing things for the visual aesthetic. So it translates into like pretty much what everyone else is doing. And a lot of people try to train in their own lives to be a bodybuilder. They train in their own lives to be a bodybuilder. They train in their own lives to be on stage without ever going up on stage. So don't copy what people are doing to get on the Olympia stage when you're just a soccer mom or someone who needs to lose 100. Don't compare yourself in that sense. You can be inspired, but just understand what you're doing might be for more longevity, for health, and for other things. People that are doing that are to look a certain way at a certain moment and be emaciated, be dehydrated. It's not a healthy pursuit. Bodybuilding and physique competitions, they're not healthy. Extremely unhealthy, in fact. Doesn't mean it's not impressive. Doesn't mean it's not something that people should or shouldn't be doing. People will have interest in all sorts of things. People like fly fishing. Go at it. There's competitions for it. Okay, fine. People do it for fun. Okay. There are a lot of things that humans are into. Find what you're good at and go all in, right? Again, if you love powerlifting, you're not doing it for the health benefits. Lacey's in the chat. Like if you like strong man or strong woman or strong person or strong they, You're not doing it for longevity or like, oh, I'm doing this because it's beneficial. You enjoy it. You enjoy the challenge. You enjoy that outcome. Like there's different goals, but I think everyone should be doing strength training. You don't have to build all the muscle in the world to benefit from strength training. I think everyone should be strength training, and then you could do whatever else you want for enjoyment. My opinion. Okay. Any other questions? We can get more into it. Let's go balls deep.
That's deep.
All right. Oh, I did see a text earlier. I must have missed it. Hold on a second. I saw it earlier and I wanted to address it, but I think we had something else going on. Let me see. Hold on. I want to scroll. No, did I miss it? No. Yeah, that's right. Glenna Craft, Papa Solio. Today's my 44th birthday. Can I get a shout and a tyrannical tuck? Hashtag Make America Swole. Happy birthday. You absolutely
There's tiny tuck, typical tuck, total tuck, and the tyrannical tuck.
I meant to hit that earlier. So happy birthday, Glenna. Everyone say happy birthday. Excellent. Excellent. There's a tyrannical tuck for you. Disturbing and gross. That's a birthday tuck. Birthday tuck. All right, Glenna, pick a number, 1, 2, or 3. Let's start off with you. 1, 2, or 3.
What's in the box?
1, 2, or 3. We'll start off with Glenna. Whichever one you choose, we'll kick one off with you. Ooh, bodies are objects of status, relationship with movement, why fat people have shorter lifespans. Ooh, you're going to start off with a lifespan. All right, fam, why fat people have shorter lifespans. That's the title of the video. This is on TikTok, and it's in response to a question, and I'll read the question on the screen. It says, none, but you have an increased risk of heart disease and failure, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and overall shorter lifespan by several years. Yeah, obese people are not healthy. We know that. Let's see what the response is.
Have you ever actually cared to ask why fat people have shorter lifespans?
Don't say it's because of doctors. It's not. Don't say it.
You would know that it has a lot to do with weight bias in medicine.
Oh my God. How do I know this? I knew it. I knew it. Oh, it's the weight bias. Oh yeah, it's not the fact that you're eating Twinkies instead of... It's not because you're mainlining Diet Coke.
This has to do with several things, but primarily doctors not taking us seriously when we present symptoms of certain conditions, oftentimes being turned away to lose weight, which...
Yeah, doctors aren't paying attention. Doctors are not addressing the actual issue. They are. There are. In other words, hey, you should probably not be super fat. Change whatever you're doing to get super fat and do the opposite. That's what they're saying.
Take several years for some people, and some of us can't do it and never go back. Meaning that if we went into the doctor, we presented with symptoms of a certain cancer, they turn us away for several years.
That doesn't happen. Doctors, you go to a doctor with signs of a certain cancer and they turn you away for several years. I'll take 1,000. I'll take things that never happened for $1,000, Alex.
In that time, the cancer gets worse. We might try and lose weight and fail or succeed, but then we go back several years later and the cancer has progressed to a point where they can't do anything about it. As fat people, we are treated so poorly in medical spaces. Oftentimes, we don't seek out preventative care at all.
There, you're right. Now you're absolutely right. Often we don't seek out preventative care at all. That's right. You're not seeking out preventative care. You're not exercising. You're not eating properly. You're not sleeping properly. You're not lowering your stress levels. You're not meditating. You're not taking preventative care. That's the fundamental problem. Nope, you're not taking any care of yourself. And you're not taking any accountability. Same thing.
It's also widely known that type 2 diabetes has a lot more to do with actually your genetics than it...
Type 2 diabetes. It's not. You could be predisposed to a whole host of different diseases. Doesn't mean you're actually going to fire those genes up. If you put yourself in a garbage environment with eating and lifestyle habits, yeah, you might turn those genes on. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed for it.
Does your size. And fat people and thin people alike both develop type 2 diabetes.
Yep, because some people are more prone to obesity. I'm not saying genetics don't exist and that genetics can't play a role, but you're not obese because of your genetics. You're obese because you eat like shit, you don't train properly, you don't live your life in the way you should, and it makes you more likely to be obese. I would agree that some people have an 80% chance of being obese if they have bad habits. Some people have an 80% chance of getting type 2 diabetes. Like, how do you quantify that? Well, you make better choices to mitigate your risk across all variables.
Different is that because of weight stigma, thin folks are far less likely to get diagnosed and therefore far less likely to receive the treatment that they need. So while I've never claimed that being fat is healthy, I've never claimed that my lifespan is going to be long.
Ever served in a
these are just some
forward
things to
area?
consider when you make statements like this. Ultimately, people of all marginalized groups have decreased life expectancy because, huge shocker here, when you are oppressed, it impacts your health, mental and physical.
You mean unhealthy people are unhealthy because of their actions? Oh my God. Did you just say people that are unhealthy? There are many people that are, by your definitions, I mean, what are you defining as oppressed? People that make terrible lifestyle choices? A lot of people are poor because they make terrible financial decisions. That's why a lot of people are poor. There are a lot of people with like rudimentary jobs that invest properly from when they're 18 and have millions of dollars when they, at the end of their lives, because they stuck to a plan and they didn't buy the latest Gucci belt when they're already maxed out on their credit cards. So a lot of people that have money is because they don't spend it on stupid shit. A lot of people that have health because they made better choices their entire life. So what are you defining as oppressed? Most people have choices and most people use those choices for instant gratification, and it catches up. Shocker, your choices actually have consequences. Choices have consequences. Oh my God. The consequences, though. But my consequences. Okay, pick a number, 1 or 2. 1 or 2.
No need
Pick a
to
number.
stop being a lady.
Balls deep.
Quit worrying. You'll be back on your knees in no time.
Look, I mean, if you're so proud of being obese, if you're so happy with being obese, you wouldn't be talking about it, right? You wouldn't be running. You're trying to convince yourself that you're happy the way you are. You're not. You're projecting your misery. We're just calling you out on it. All right. Adam Edison, number Schwam. Adam, number Schwam. Bodies are objects of status. Let's fucking go.
We are taught to view our bodies as first and foremost objects of status.
Her again?
Because under capitalism, bodies are capital. And
capitalism bodies. Bodies are capital. Well, why do you think women, you have the right to vote? Now you're able to work, right? All these things, right? Feminism. Well, more people to tax. Damn right. Damn right. Bodies are capital. Goddamn right. Why do you think they want more and more people to work so they can tax you more? All right, let's continue. Bodies are status. Bodies are capital. But my capitalism. Make your money. Do what you want. It's called freedom. Enjoy it while you have it. Some people don't.
Objects of status. Because under capitalism, bodies are capital. And so the more our bodies reflect status, the more access to all of this we have. Oh, wow. So this messes everything up in all kinds of ways, and it's just completely bigoted and hateful. But
no, it's not. Look, if you are a healthier person, yeah, I would say your body is a higher status because you take care of yourself. But some people can't take care of themselves. So what do we do? Right? Look, again, what do? We just, hey, let's just fuck everyone. Let's just break everyone's ankles so no one can walk. We don't aspire to anything anymore. Yeah, people can make choices. Let's help more people make better choices. And let's give more people more opportunities, because rising tides raise all ships. Let's make more people, or give more people more opportunity to make better choices. That takes education. That takes, it just takes a lot more being proactive. But the unfortunate thing about these libtards is that they want the oppression. Again, if you are promoting the oppression Olympics, if you are gaining power and control based on oppression, guess what? You don't want the oppression to go away. That's why most of these laws and most of these things that come from the government is actually increasing the disparity. and the economic disparity in this country. We're not fixing homelessness. We're just paying people to fix homelessness. And we're paying a lot more money to people to fix homelessness. There's no incentive to fix homelessness. There's no incentive to fix whatever oppression you're talking about. And also, you need to take some personal responsibility. You know, all these inner cities, okay, so there's been crime in a lot of these inner cities for decades and decades and decades. Okay, well, who's committing the crime? Okay, maybe it's look at the statistics. Okay, so it's largely an African-American population. Black people are committing most of the crime. Okay, so where's the responsibility? Like, you can't just be like, you have to take responsibility. You have to take more responsibility for the culture and for what you're perpetuating in society. If we have a lot more people committing crimes, then we need less crime. We need more enforcement, not defunding the police, idiots. We need more enforcement so people don't commit crimes. If people can get away with more shit, they're going to keep on getting away with more shit. If you commit a crime, and again, if you have a child and they do something bad and you don't scold them, guess what they're going to do? They're going to do it again. Like if they get a reward for doing something bad, you're teaching them and training them to do bad. Instead of house training a dog, if I give Rufus a treat every time he's shit in the house, guess what he's going to keep on doing? He's going to shit in the fucking house. It's going to be very hard to get him to shit outside, right? But instead, I gave him treats when he was a puppy and rewarded him for pooping outside, and he's never pooped in the house. Not once. He peed once or twice. One time he was scared, and one time I was carrying in a box on my back, and he was like, oh, he was like barking and freaking out. He thought I was being attacked by a box or something. And he peed, he was freaking out. He was really young. Poor baby. Right? So it's training. It's training. You're training people to complain. You're training people to whine.
One of the things I was thinking about this morning is within our relationships and who we admit to being attracted to, because sex workers will tell you fat people have no problem pulling. Porn categories for fat people are some of the most popular there are. Okay. But these are all shrouded in shame and secrecy because it has nothing to do with what we are actually attracted to. Or
all right, let's not even go down the porn rabbit hole. So most people, what they like get stimulated by porn is just a dopamine threshold. It has nothing to do with what people like in real life. There's a lot of things that people watch when it comes to porn that they would never want or physically act on in real life. So there's that there too. Okay. So like you're confusing different. Yeah. Where the fuck did this video go? Holy shit.
Want to participate with or look at, it has to do with status and our partners being viewed as extensions of ourselves, and therefore their status increases our own. So if they meet beauty standards, we look better.
What just happened?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Jesus Christ. Does anyone know what just happened? I lost her point. I lost her point because she went to like fat porn. And then you came back. Like she just went off on something and then came back, and I forgot what her original point was. No one does? We don't have to break it down. I'm fine. Like I'm good. I'm done. I'm over it. I don't need to know. I'm just saying. Yeah, a lot of people are saying we should bring back the dick draft. I think we will. We really need to bone some of these bone the jabrones. This went sideways. It got out of hand fast. Really,
Lieutenant Dan.
SH, she says that people really want to be with fatties, but choose for people because social status that makes you look better. Oh yeah, so you want to be with someone that makes you look better as an individual. Yeah, whatever. People really want to be with fatties. Okay. Maybe some people obviously do. Look, the majority of people in this world are fat. So there's a lot of people. There are a lot of fat people with fat people. some skinny dudes like big fat women. Like, is that a problem? I mean, there are fat people out there. Okay. I mean, that honestly, good for them, right? They found someone. Like, if you're in a relationship and this, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do on your own. I don't care what you do. I'm not against it. Fat people are with a skinny person. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't change my life. It doesn't change anything that I'm doing. Like, I don't care. I'm not anti-fat person with a thin person or something, or a swole person. If someone's muscular and ripped and wants to be with someone who's morbidly obese, that's an interesting situation, but that's them. I don't have to agree with it or be like, oh, I wouldn't do that. Cool. It's like, no shit. Otherwise I would do that. But that person wants to. Okie dokie. But it's a silly... This is all to control what you think and what you say. In other words, she has to be vindicated or affirmed that being obese is a good thing. Again, you can't control what I say. I'm not going to agree to something that's factually untrue just because it hurts your feelings. Right? Like, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to...
Boys have a penis, girls have vagina.
I'm not going to call you a woman when you're obviously a man. I don't care what feelings get hurt. I don't care what delusion you have. You have no right to capitalize and control my speech. So, like, all these situations are whacked out because it forces all of you, all of us, or anyone else to play into their delusion. Like, this is about you. You're a narcissist. It's about you. Leave my thoughts alone. I don't care what you do. You're an adult. You have the freedom to do what you want, but you do not have the freedom to control what I say about your land of make-believe. That's the insane part, is that they're trying to force you to say, because I have to confirm that in order for you to feel or pretend to be a woman, we all have to play fucking Tea Party. Oh, you're a woman. You're a woman. Men can menstruate. Okay. No, you're a fucking idiot. There's something wrong in your brain. I wish you the best. Either go live your life and believe that around people that actually, but I'm not going to rub your taint just because you feel a certain way. You feel like a fish. Well, what, in order for you to be affirmed, I have to pretend like you are? That's insane. Not going to happen. It's not being mean. It's just, I do not have a mental disorder. I'm happy about that. I'd like to keep my integrity. I'd like to not masquerade as a silly person. Bodies are objects of status. The Sand Fam, I know more men that are trans than I know of women. Makes me wonder, why are men being affected this way? Is that true, though? I'm pretty sure that women are more affected by the trans ideology. Women are more affected by these social issues than men, I believe. I don't know what the data is on that. So I don't know if that's true. Like, you might know more men. You mean, well, again, what does that mean? You know more women that are, acting like men? Or trying to? Or you know men that are trying to be women? Because there are a lot of people that are grifting out there. There are a lot of people that really aren't mentally stable and are looking for something and are confused and feel forsaken. They don't have any belief structure. They don't have a good community. They're being poisoned physically with food. They're being poisoned on social media. They're looking for some sort of love and attention and belonging. So they're like, maybe I'm an outcast because I'm not really supposed to be a man. I'm not attracted to women. They're sucking down tons of soy. They're not getting good sleep and blue light. Their testosterone's crashing. So they do feel more like a woman. They feel like an effeminate man. Maybe I'm not supposed to be a man. Maybe I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. And then they start getting affirmed, right? Then they start getting everyone like, oh my God, you're so brave. Yes, queen. So then they, oh shit, like this is what I was meant to be. Look at all my attention. Look at all the followers. Look at all the love. And all of a sudden everyone is giving me and fucking parades are raining. Oh my God, Dylan Mulvaney, you've been a woman for a year. You know, fucking women that have been women for 30 years are like, here, hold my beer. I've never gotten a parade. I've never gotten Woman of the Year. I've never gone to the White House and gotten sponsorships from companies because I am actually a woman. Are you so brave, or do you have a mental disorder and people are literally putting on a pedestal because it's this fucking mass psychosis? Crazy shit. Fucking nuts, bro. Fucking nuts. How crazy is shit? Oh my God. Fucking nuts. It's crazy, right? Wow. At the same time, it's like people do what you want. Does anyone actually care, right? No one ever cared. When did anyone ever care about a drag show? Right? Like, do you actually care if there are drag shows out there? There have been. Sometimes like bars have. No one ever cared until you started trying to fucking sexualize the kids. No one cared about people dyeing their hair blue until the majority of people that dye their hair blue are trying to, you know, diddle your kids. You know, once you start coming after innocent children, people are like, what, you can be insane. And again, you can go rock climbing. Let's say someone wants to go, let's say someone, you guys seen the movie, right? Alex Honnold, Free Solo. Free Solo, that's fucking nuts, right? The guy climbed whatever that shit was, Half Dome or yellow sack or whatever the wall is, right? With no wires or supports, just fucking nuts. But you wouldn't put a 3-year-old on the wall, right? You wouldn't let a 14-year-old do it. Then it'd be like, no, you're too young. You can't make a logical decision. You're like, that's not safe. But a grown-ass man, we're all like, wow, that's impressive. Let's make a movie about it. Wow, look at that dude. And people fall and die, and we're like, well, that's what you get. You're an adult, and you want to climb a fucking rock without any supports? Yeah, you're going to die. You fall, you're done. You can't get a tattoo when you're 14. Why? Because people don't make good decisions when they're children, because they're children. Their brains aren't fully formed. You have parents to be like, slap you upside the head and be like, the fuck are you doing? Are you crazy? Don't do that, you idiot. Your parents' goal is to get you to survive to be 18, 20, and then you could be your own stupid person out in the world. Don't put your finger in that socket. No. Don't touch the outlet. Why? Because you're going to die. If you're a 30-year-old and you're like, well, survival of the fittest, right? Darwin Award. But if you're a child, you need to be protected from doing stupid shit because you're not aware of consequences. You don't have that long-term mindset, right? When you're 5, oh my God, you don't have a concept of time. You don't have a concept of the future. Remember, every day seems like forever. Your birthday seems so far away. Christmas or any holiday, I was like, oh my God, it's so long, because you haven't had a lot of experience with time yet. You don't understand time. You don't understand next week or next Monday. When you're really little, you cover your eyes. Peekaboo. Kids think like when their eyes are covered, they can't see you, that you're disappeared. Kids don't know. Like, okay. Again, if you want to dress up like a woman, I don't think anyone really cares. I don't care. I don't fucking care. You want to go dress like a woman? Fine. You want to walk down the road and dress like a woman? Yikes. You're probably not going to have a lot of friends. You might get arrested. Okay. I don't think it's good for society, but if you're doing it on your own and you go to a bar or you go to a place over 18 or over 21, whatever it is, and you want to dress like a woman and people want to pay to go and like watch that, guess what? Some people want to pay and go and watch that. Everyone's consenting adults. Go have fun. No one cares. There's a lot of shit that consenting adults do, and that's the whole thing with sexuality, right? As long as you have consenting adults, pretty much any kink is, quote, normal, because it's like, hey, if every adult there is agreeing to it, someone on the outside might be like, God damn. But if they're all saying, yeah, this is great, then who fucking cares? Let them do it. But when you start fucking around with kids, nope. Hard pass. That's where everyone's putting their foot down. But it's like, oh, how come? This is how it starts. Starts with a drag queen story hour, and then it's going to come to, and then guess what? You're going to have the drag queen story hour, and then you're going to start having this kind of, well, it's going to be a part of a pedophile's parole. Once they get out of prison, then they're going to start, it's going to be a halfway house type situation, where after you get out of fucking pedophilia prison. You're going to start reading to kids as part of your rehabilitation. That's a great idea too. It's just the foot in the door. It's good. You know, it's just, and that's the next step. And that's the next step. Slippery fucking slope. Give the mouse a cookie, right? Give the mouse a cookie. And the mouse is a fucking food addict. It's going to binge eat the entire fucking row. Okay. Last one. There we go. That was not bad at all. I stopped it early.
A 10. A 10.
I stopped it early.
10.
Oh my God. Part 3, Lord of the Rings style. Only The Return of the King won the Academy Award, so the third one should have been the best one, but Fellowship of the Ring, underrated. All right, last video. Heal relationship with movement. Oh my God. Holy shit. Jason Momoa. If Jason Momoa was trans. Here we go.
I think a super revolutionary thing you can do if you're trying to heal your relationship with movement is to stop when you're bored. I think other people can relate to this, but I spent years just pushing past the limit of interest, into pain, into emotional pain. And now being an adult who has a say in what happens to my body, even socially, it resolved a really deep-rooted thing in me that I did not even know existed. So I think the goal isn't just to find something you like to do and do that, but also let yourself not want to do that sometimes. Because you're more likely to come back to something that you feel is your choice. And in a world where everyone is trying to take away everyone's rights, why would you do that to yourself?
This is how you know that we're not living the same reality. Who is taking people's rights away? What rights are people taking away? Someone tell me. Duncan, Idaho here is not pleased. Where are the rights? What rights are being taken away? I'll wait. What are you talking about? I didn't listen to most of the things she said, for the record. Just go to the fucking gym and get it done. TCAP says, do these people leave their house? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Barrett, I didn't know giving teenage girls elective double mastectomies was a human right. Yeah. Okay, what rights are being taken away? What rights? You mean the Supreme Court reversing a terrible decision, making it states' rights? States' rights issue. You don't like it, move to a different state. That's it. It's a states' rights. States' rights. People have the right. Look, that's the way the country was designed. If you don't like the laws where you live, then guess what? Pick your stuff up and fucking move. Well, some people can't move. It's never easy to move. It's never easy. Yo, people used to fucking load up a horse and buggy. Right? The 49ers back in the 1800s, they used to load up a horse and buggy and just fucking go west. Remember what Fievel did? Fievel went west. Did you see how that was? Come on, who's seen fucking Tombstone? All right? Who's seen fucking Tombstone and Fievel? That's my complete education on the West. And Oregon Trail. Okay? A lot of people got dysentery. That's what I learned. A lot of people got dysentery. A lot of people broke their leg and fucking died. You know? A lot of people forged rivers that should not have been forged. And no matter how deep that shit was, I always fucking forged that shit. And I always saw that stuff flooded and floating around. I forged everything. I forged every fucking river. Every river. I just fucking went balls deep. Oh, there's a big river. I don't give a fuck. And I would lose half my supplies and both my siblings would die. Okay. Anyway, people used to load up their horse and buggy and just go fucking west. I don't know what's out there, but shit. Let's go check it out. Talk about balls. Cojones, huh? Huevos. Now people can I can't move. There's other places I don't want to leave. People literally used to just fucking go into the wilderness. And there was Native Americans and Comanches and just people just fucking taking scalps and shit. The Conestoga wagons, right? You'd have to create a circle and the Indians would and like surround them and you'd have to fight them off. You didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. Loretta, when trips took 3 months, at least. Depends on what time period, right? People just went, I don't know, I think there's gold out there. Well, fuck it. There wasn't a highway, fam. There was like a fucking trail that 7 people have been on. You know, you break those wooden wheels, as if those wouldn't break all the fucking time. You'd have to like make a new one. Just crazy. Crazy. Fucking insane. Fucking insane. All right, fam. Thanks for being here. Let's give away today's Swole card. Swole card time. Swole card time. Make America swole. Here we go. Let's give this fucking Swole card away. Come on now. Make America swole. Oh, we got a winner. It's our very own T-Capalicious. Congratulations. Congratulations, T-CZ. Congratulations. My goodness. Send us an email to support@swolenormous.com. Swolecard 2577 in the subject, your mailing address, and the body of the email. That's swell. That's fantastic, T-Cap. Congratulations. Sweet, that's me. That's you. I'll give you a Dotson anyway. Dotson's all around.
Dotson, we've got Dotson here.
Making it rain with Dotsons.
Oh.
That's fucking bullshit. Sorry, Adam, we cannot start the show over again. Come on now.
Shut up, bitch!
As you can see, my nipples have been removed from my body. Where they are, I don't know.
What you think it means?
Emotional damage. You make me happy. Loud noises.
Pay that man his money.
I will rain down on a godly fucking firestorm upon you.
What the hell kind of country is this where I can only hate a man if he's white?
You can be fat and be healthy. I'm sorry, Lizzo, healthier than I will ever be.
Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn!
Got it out just in time. All right, fucking nailed it. We got you. Yow. All right, fam. Thank you so much for being here. Let me crank up this How Delicious. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your time and attention. Oh my God. Coast to coast. It always is coast to coast. Those last two keys, I got to pivot. And I don't have to move as much though. I used to have to like move a lot more, but the swelling has gotten to the point where I just kind of turn a little bit and it just goes whoosh, whoosh, boom. I can just fucking really whip it. It's really about the speed. It's all in the hips. Hips don't lie. And the knowledge cock certainly doesn't either. Fam, thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Ask Papa Swole live. So just questions tomorrow. You can go to askpapaswole.com and call into the show. And of course, join the fam, SoulNormousX.com, and check out yesterday's Driving While Gaining. Monday, Balls Deep release party. We'll talk about that tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern time. It's going to be great. It's been a pleasure and a privilege. Tomorrow, 2578. We'll see you then. Peace, McGee's, Deuce, McGoose, your boy Papa Swole. Out.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stock crashing, like an IPO trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? 90s want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans. I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now they king left and they so mad, it's like
then yeah, I found that young king with my crown at 10 racks in the fanny pack, couple hundred in the Louis bag.
That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you laid. That's a bed that you laid. What kind of game is you playing? We go hard in the paint, yeah. What the fuck is you saying? I only go where they pay. What kind of game is you playing? Yeah, whoa, my shit is relevant. On topic, my melanin is popping. I'm taking skeletons on closets and making new deposits. I'm in my element, no ollies.